Hello YouTube. 1 year ago I made a video about classified time travel experiments in the USSR. For my peace of mind, I must add a few more things I know about the scientists behind the research. But please understand that I do not know anything else. I use open sources. A lot of people are really interested in this subject. And time travel idea has always fascinated humanity. I'm sure certain government agencies and the military of world powers are even more fascinated, but they have more opportunities and wherewithal to do research, yet are modestly quiet about their discoveries. So here's a little bit more about a very unusual Russian, and that's all I know. So let me tell you about the scientists at the center of it all. So why are the studies about the time generally and time experiments of the Soviet astrophysicist Kozyrev, who argued with Einstein, why are they classified? Was he a genius or a charlatan? Russian astrophysicist Nikolai Kozyrev remained a controversial figure in the history of science. Some consider him a genius, others a madman. The scientists openly argued with the general theory of relativity and its apostle Einstein. For his non-standard discoveries, Kozyrev was twice expelled from the Pulkovo Observatory, twice served prison sentences, and was even sentenced to death. Without stopping working on his theories even in prison, he was eventually awarded a high international award, which only the first human being in space, the Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin, had previously received in the USSR. Kozyrev conducted experiments based on which modern researchers of time travel work. Hereditary nobleman Nikolai Kozyrev hails from St. Petersburg. His background was enough to get him imprisoned in the communist realities of Soviet Russia. Kozyrev was fortunate. After receiving his high school education, he decided to continue his studies at the Pedagogical Institute, but quickly transferred to the physics and mathematics faculty of the Leningrad University. Demonstrating obvious talents in the exact sciences, in 1928, he got into the postgraduate course of the Pulkovo Observatory, a prestigious facility. And I mentioned it in a number of my videos pertaining to other iconoclastic Russian scientists. And so Kozyrev got there under recommendations of his teachers. Already 5 years later, Nikolai Kozyrev developed his first scientific theory of extended stellar atmospheres. Having established the features of their radiation, his work was a revolutionary astronomical discovery. Kozyrev had a firm and uncompromising point of view on everything, against which he quarreled with the head of the observatory and was dismissed. With the approach of political repression in the country, the Pulkovo astronomers began to be accused of close ties with abroad, meaning foreign countries, due to the publication of scientific papers in Western magazines and journals. Arrests were made. More than 100 scientists have passed through the so-called Pulkovo case. The pretext to be arrested by the secret police, to be interrogated, and to be marked as enemy of the people. After the execution of the director of the observatory and the detention of his deputy, it was Kozyrev's turn. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Now, Soviet-born journalist Sergei Dovlatov, who emigrated to the United States many years ago, claimed that Nikolai Kozyrev's accusation in court sounded like this: an attempt to hijack the Volga River to the west. Kozyrev himself later recalled that he involuntarily laughed when he heard the wording of the accusatory side. Well, Kozyryov's family received demands to completely renounce him, and when they refused to sever ties with their loved one, they were sent to Siberian concentration camps. Kozyryov's colleagues and friends tirelessly petitioned for the early release of the astronomers. Fate smiled on a number of people from Nikolai Kozyryov's circle, but not on him. Well, in 1941 he was convicted again for hostile agitation of prisoners, and Kozyrov just conveyed his scientific assumptions to his cellmates in simple language. Apparently there were a few stool pigeons there who did not want to be educated. And again, the sentence was 10 years of imprisonment. The new formulations of the accusations sounded no less absurd than the previous ones. He considers Yesenin Gumilev a good poet, claims that he claims that being does not always determine consciousness, argues with Engels' statements that Newton is an inductive ass. The people I named, Yesenin and Gumilev, were Russian poets, one of whom committed suicide because he couldn't take Soviet socialist realities anymore, and the other one was executed by the communists in 1921. Friedrich Engels, together with Karl Marx, invented the ideology used by Lenin and his crew to subjugate my motherland under the totalitarian control. We were forced to read their idiotic works when I lived in the USSR. Soon Kozyrov learned that the Soviet Supreme Court had reviewed the case and passed the highest sentence, that is execution. For half a month, Nikolai Kozyrov waited for the execution until the judges once again reversed their decision. At the beginning of 1943, the scientist was appointed as a geophysicist engineer in the geological department of the Norilsk Combined Enterprise, since the warring country was in dire need of specific specialists, even from the ranks of prisoners. Norilsk, by the way, is still off limits to foreigners in modern Russia. Anyway, incessant appeals to the top fellow astronomers, Kozyrov was paroled after all. And already 3 months after his release, he brilliantly defended his dissertation, becoming a doctor of physical and mathematical sciences. He was invited to work at the Crimean Astrophysical Observatory, and after full rehabilitation in 1958, he was again accepted to the main astronomical observatory of the USSR, Pulkovo. However, in the end, he was expelled again and consigned to oblivion. Well, Kozyrov's research works on the essence of time are still classified. An astronomer by profession, Nikolai Kozyrov initially conducted research in the field of celestial bodies. At that time, the moon was considered a dead astronomical object that had long completed its evolution. And suddenly Kozyrov loudly declares, there is volcanic activity on the surface of the Earth's natural satellite. It sounded defiant and unscientific, causing censure on behalf of colleagues. However, when Nikolai Kozyrov nevertheless examined the eruption in the lunar crater with a telescope and received its spectrogram, the condemnation subsided. But Kozyrov's observations were recognized as reliable only 10 years later. The Russian Committee for Discoveries and Inventions awarded the scientist a diploma, and the International Academy of Astronomers awarded the Soviet colleague a gold medal with a diamond Big Dipper. At the presentation of the high award, academician Sidov told Kozyrov that only he and Gagarin deserved such an award. But even the world recognition did not pacify the detractors. Nikolai Kozyrov came to the lunar discovery in a painfully non-standard way. He believed that the basis of lunar volcanism was in the flow of time. He considered time to be a special kind of energy, having developed the theory of causal mechanics. This logic is difficult for a reader far from science to understand and explain in unscientific language. According to Kozyrov's theory, Time is expressed by cause and effect relationships, which are always separated in space from each other and independent of the coordinate system. Stars, according to Kozyrev, are powered by the energy of time, so that nuclear fusion is not depleted inside them. It was time that he considered the progenitor of energy and the first component of the universe. All physical processes in the world, argued Nikolai Kozyrev, occur with the allocation or absorption of time. Kozyrev attributed the intuition and predictions inherent in some people precisely to the essence of time, to which information can be transmitted to any point in the universe. The scientists proposed to slide through time with the help of a special system of concave mirrors. The first ideas of kind of time machine originated in his head on the eve of his first arrest. Today, when the scientific world is seriously talking about the possibilities of time travel, scientists from different parts of the world are conducting relevant experiments. And if you look carefully, supporters of Kozyrev's discoveries believe the theoretical developments of Nikolai Alexandrovich Kozyrev are used in this case. Well, will the Russian state declassify his research? Call the Kremlin and you ask. As for my video, the first one, please see the link in the description to this video. I describe the experiments in it. So that's where we are. I appreciate your attention to my work and your understanding that I am but an independent civilian researcher, and I'll continue my research. If you can support me, you'll find the links in the description to this video. I'll appreciate if you like my video and if you subscribe to my channel, and please tell others too. Thank you.